Scrying is one of the oldest practices in human history, gazing into a surface until visions emerge. Water, flame, mirror, smoke, the unconscious made visible. In 1913, Carl Jung sat alone, in silence, in darkness. His words: "It was as though the ground gave way beneath my feet, and I plunged into the dark depths." When figures appeared, he spoke to them. When landscapes emerged, he entered them. A winged figure came, Philemon. It taught him things his conscious mind could not. He recorded everything, for 15 years. He later wrote, "All my works, all my creative activity has come from those initial fantasies." He called it active imagination. The oldest name for it is scrying.
The English word dragon comes from the Greek word drakon, which is etymological. There has to be willing to have their ego shattered by what the unconscious exposes. The false image of the self cannot receive the jewel of insight. It has to be broken open. The jewel is received by the part of the self that is humble enough to be changed by it. If insight is kept as possession, it becomes another hoard. If it returns to life, it becomes wisdom.
It takes 24 hours to break down one meal. Well, that means that if I eat 2 meals, I'm living 2 days on the inside of my body, and I'm only living really 1. So I'm wearing out my system the more that I eat. He said eat 1 meal a day. What is he saying? It gives your body a chance to break down that meal, extract that which is tonic, healing and good for you, and also break down and discard that which is toxic. But if you eat 3, now your body's still working on the tonic and the toxic from 1. Now you done slapped another meal on it. Now it's got to wrestle with the toxins from that. I can't get to all the toxins from the last meal because I'm working on this new. Then you come back with a snack. Then you come back. By the time we get finished with it, we are full of toxins. And we find ourselves suffering from illness and sickness unnecessarily. He said, if you eat 1 meal a day and fast 3 days out of a month, he said, you'll hardly ever get sick. He said, but if you don't want to ever get sick, just eat 1 meal and then nothing the next day, and then eat 1 meal every other day. At the most, you may get sick once every 2 or 3 years.
It's time to take control of your health. Come with me to discover the basic principles that will empower you to have the vibrant life you have been hoping and praying your whole life.
This right here is called a Royal Family Crest. This particular right here is from the Fox, Davis, Emerald families of Britain. You understand? The Moors of Yorkshire, Mores. The Nicodemus family and the Hermain Gilly family, De La Scala family, the Ivy family. I cannot read Latin. This painting of a combined coat of arm of the Tucher and Reicher family, which was black and a white family looked like, cost $250. It's a bunch. Y'all want to pick one? Because I don't know what this means. That's German. This French. Marquise of Hartford. As you can see, the Europeans don't erase too much of their history. Especially Russia for some reason. They gonna keep that shit in your face. But you think slaves will put on family crest? I don't think so. But it's a bunch. Like a lot. This one hard. The Haslett, Von Haslett, Grape Street Crips. This could be y'all new shit instead of the 6-point star David, aka Star Satan, or Lucifer, the Morning Star, Vice Lords. Got y'all? Fuck you talking about? That whole hard. We can use this one for all the Uncle Ruckus ass niggas. Cause you see how the fuck we was giving it up? Like, man, I want this fit now. My man got on fucking shorts with a cape and a crown, with a scepter. It's a few places that still got these. One of the main places is the Native American Museum in the Netherlands. But think about it. If I don't tell you who you are, can you claim land or a status that you no longer have? If you feel like you was once a king, you probably fucking was. Or queen, we not gonna sit here and act like it ain't nothing. It's a native wedding dress of old caliber. The King of Uganda, 1909. Ugandan Royal Army. I don't know why it won't show you his headdress. It looked like a fucking chandelier on top of his head. It's made of jewels. There you go. Look at this shit, bro. That's a chandelier on top of Cuz head. But if you go look who King Solomon was, Solomon the Wise, star on his chest, look like a nigga to me. Happy is thee who finds wisdom. Proverbs 3:12. That's an old Bible. This is an old Bible. Oldest Buddhist description in the world. Black skin king of wisdom. Fudo Moyo. Japan. But if you know only what I want you to know, how you know something? How do you fucking know something? Didn't we tell you the Creek Indians was warriors and they was black? Didn't I tell you they was Indians when they got to Cali?
The invention of television was pure genius. Early TVs used a spinning disc to scan images, turning light into electrical signals that could be transmitted. But the quality was rough, only 30 lines of resolution and about 5 frames per second, so the image looked blurry and jittery. Still, it was the first time people could see moving pictures from a distance. Engineers later tried adding color by scanning images through red, green, and blue filters, relying on your eyes to blend them together. But mechanical systems just couldn't handle it. The real breakthrough came with CRT, or cathode ray tube technology. It used an electron beam to sweep across the screen, creating a much clearer and smoother picture. For color, the image was split into red, green, and blue signals, controlled by 3 electron guns. A key part called the shadow mask made sure each color landed exactly where it should. Even more impressive, color information was built into black and white signals, so older TVs still worked.
We live inside a dream.
We live inside a dream.
Yeah, that's a very Lynchian.
No, but it's sort of the truth. It's sort of the truth. And one day we wake up and realize that it was a dream, and we realize who we truly are.
Well, dreams, they feel real while we're in them, right? It's only when we wake up that we realize something was actually strange. Let me ask you a question. You never really remember the beginning of a dream, do you? You always wind up right in the middle of what's going on.
I guess, yeah.
So how did we end up here?
So we're really like blind people groping around with these feeble little senses to determine what reality is. This is exactly what mystics have been trying to tell us for so many years, that the world is an illusion and that the real world and universe is a non-physical.
That's why alchemy is symbolic. We're not turning lead into gold. We're turning unrefined consciousness into pure and self-mastered consciousness. In alchemy, you have 3 main components: sulfur, mercury, and salt. Salt is the physical body, mercury is the mind, sulfur is the soul. These are the 3 aspects we need to purify, master, and transform into a higher state of consciousness, so we can gain full control of the organism and use the mind and body as a tool for creation and not reactions to reality.
Here is a terrible word that a lot of people, almost everybody, uses concerning money that you need to wash right out of your vocabulary. Are you ready for this one? Never again say spend money. Spend means it's gone. I've gotten rid of it. I'm not going to see it anymore. As long as the thought is formed in your mind, spend money, you are dismissing money from you. Now let's get into, very briefly, the semantics of circulating money. I'm even going to give you something to put in your checkbook, something to say whenever you use money, whenever you pay money, so that it'll come back to you. All of the money that I use returns to me multiplied in a never-ending cycle of increase and enjoyment, thank God.
The one great thing that a man must do to become free is to overcome the fear of pain. Pain is an illusion. When you're thinking on the higher plane, the law of duality, pain and pleasure, that is not the higher plane. That's the higher plane. When you're thinking up here, this for you does not exist. Pain and pleasure, hot and cold, hard and soft, rich and poor, sick and healthy, ignorant and wise. Duality does not exist when your attention is fixed up here And for you, there is no sensation, no pain. Now we're talking about your spiritual consciousness. Be ye perfect is up here. That's what you're supposed to experience in meditation. The state of perfection, where there's no duality. One state. There's a place in consciousness where there is no sensation. There's a place in consciousness where you know you do not exist while you exist. You just suddenly get there, and you know you're gone.
That's why they removed copper from swimming pools, because they realized that copper was so antibacterial that it was completely purifying the water that the people were swimming in without all of the harmful effects of chlorine, which we also know is $1 trillion industry. But also, when the copper was rested in the swimming pools, copper ions were being absorbed into the water, which hold an electrical charge. Therefore, when people were swimming in these pools, their bodies were absorbing this charged water, and we are electrical beings. Therefore, the water that they were swimming in and bathing in was instantaneously healing their bodies. And so if we then think about copper pipes, which are being completely erased, it then makes perfect sense, because the elites realize that when water flows through copper pipes, that water then becomes charged water, creating some of the most powerful water in the world, purifying it to a level no other material can match. This is another reason why farmers would place copper in their livestock's water bowls, because they knew that the copper would keep the water completely pure and charge the water.
Their DNA is actually mixed with fallen angels, and this is why you see the Neanderthal genes in whites and Asians. The white skin in Caucasians is a genetic mutation, and that is a fact that many whites and Asians have accepted and even teach openly, and with a great deal of pride, as a matter of fact.
This is Pope Nicholas V. He's the one that wrote the papal bull to enslave all black people. That was him right there. He instituted the transatlantic slave trade. Now give me Santa Claus. They call Santa Claus Center Claus on the right. Their Santa Claus is Pope Nicholas V. That's Saint Nick, Jolly Saint Nick. Now, there were two Saint Nicks. One in Russia who gave gifts on Hanukkah, but not that one. It's the other one, Pope Nicholas V. That's what this is in honor of. So see how there's Santa Claus, or Santa Claus wears red, gold, and white. He wears the Pope's hat. Okay?
Yeah.
Give me the next image. Now, you may ask yourself, okay, that's Pope Nicholas V, Saint Nick in the center. But who are these two black people on the side? Remember, Pope Nicholas V instituted the transatlantic slave trade. One of the first places they started to conquer was Spain and Portugal, the Iberian Peninsula, where the Moors, the word Moor is Latin meaning blacks. They conquered our people in Spain and Portugal and enslaved us. That's why Pope Nicholas V, Saint Nick, has Santa's helpers. The helpers is a euphemism or a nice way of saying slaves.
You know, the old cartoon, The Jetsons, George Jetson, what was being portrayed in the early 60s there, that technology existed at that time. It literally existed. It was a cartoon, but it actually was stuff that we had.
Meet George Jetson.
SR-71 Blackbird. Recognize it?
Yep.
It's shaped like a razor blade. Why?
Non-detectable.
Well, not detectable and aerodynamic, right? And so if there was like a bolt sticking out on this thing, it would rip it apart. This thing goes Mach 3.2, and it's going Mach 3.2. It can't turn left or right or up and down because it has to only go straight because of the forces. Well, if the Earth is a globe, it would have to nose down 800 feet per second just to follow the curve. But that's a whole nother story. So there's no paint on it either because the paint would burn off due to the friction of this aerodynamic design. But then we have the side of the Artemis rocket. This is like a PVC pipe that goes all the way up the rocket. If you find a big picture of the rocket, you'll see, look at this right angles. You got these protrusions out here like Legos.
And that's going faster than that plane, correct?
10 times faster.
Oh, boy.
10 times faster.
As a former worshipful master of Masonic Lodge, it was my duty to instruct a candidate in many of the teachings of Freemasonry. One of the most important was an explanation of the letter G, which you find suspended above my chair in the east. Let me tell you exactly what that means to Freemasonry, as explained to the candidate. First of all, it alludes to the fifth science, geometry. Geometry, according to Freemasonry, delineates how God created the heavens and the earth in its various shapes and forms. But the most important meaning is, as I'm going to give it to you at this point. The master removes his hat and tells the candidate, it alludes to the sacred name of deity, before whom all, from the youngest entered apprentice in the northeast corner to the worshipful master who presides in the east, should with reverence most humbly bow. As a child of God, I accepted the Lord Jesus Christ as my Savior several years ago. And I had a great deal of difficulty with Freemasonry's definition of God, because all through the rituals, as well as this explanation, they call God deity, or Grand Architect of the Universe, or Great Architect of the Universe.
Y'all know what it
Give him any
is.
specific name we as Christians know. You see, in Freemasonry, but they do not name what those deities are, so they call him deity. In conclusion, I find that the teachings of Freemasonry lead to a universal religion. The religion that Freemasonry teaches accepts saviors of all religions in the world, none being exclusive.
As you heard, these glasses was banned in the 1800s. Let's get into it.
This device was banned by the Rockefellers in the 1800s, and this is copper tensor glasses, and they would use this device to enhance their eyesight and remove headaches in the 1800s, because we are electrical beings and we run on electricity. Therefore, when you wear copper, the greatest conductor around a specific body part, the copper enhances the energy flow of that area, instantaneously healing that area. So if they had knee pain, they would wear copper around their ankles. And if they suffered with poor eyesight or headaches, they knew that they should wear copper around their head, which is why these devices were used in the 1800s and are actually known as the original glasses before the ones we use today, which we know make people worse because it's $1 trillion industry. And they also knew to add crystals in the center of the glasses because they knew that crystals also emit healing frequencies, such as amethyst, which emits frequencies which can help with mental clarity. And so when they were wearing these glasses on their head, the amethyst would sit in the center, which would then also instantaneously heal that individual. So if you ever wondered why these glasses are no longer sold, it's because the elites found something out about copper they don't.
Boy, ain't nothing them ancient Romans loved more than conquering, except maybe slavery. Just ask this dude named Spartacus, who was one of these slaves. Until one day he said, boy, when I get out of here, man, his master said, get out of where? Spartacus said, his master said, yeah, that's what I thought. Get in the arena. And by arena, I mean the gladiator arena. See, most people think gladiator shows were these glorious shows, but mostly it's just where they made slaves fight. And Spartacus could fight. After one of his fights finished, his master said, God damn, Spartacus, you be throwing them hands. Here's your wages for the day. Spartacus said, you didn't give me nothing. His master said, ain't you listening to the story? You a slave, stupid. Spartacus said, bet. His master said, what? Spartacus said, bet. His master said, ooh. he not stuttering no more. Yeah, that's because Spartacus had a plan to break free by doing what he do best, fighting. He got a group of 70 gladiators, broke their chains, smoked their master, and fought their way to a place called Mount Vesuvius. Now, I need you to listen to this next part closely. Remember in the beginning of the video, I told you the Romans loved to conquer. Well, to keep their massive empire going, they needed to supply it with a lot of slaves. And where they got these slaves are from the places they conquered. So it's like an ongoing cycle. They conquered a country, got a bunch of slaves from that country, made them work to keep their empire going so then they could conquer more countries. So when all these slaves started hearing about this dude named Spartacus who broke his chains and fled to Mount Vesuvius, they started to break their own chains and headed to Mount Vesuvius to meet Spartacus. The Roman Empire said, that's not good. So the Roman senators had a meeting. They said, what we finna do about this? One of the senators said, send the army after them. Another senator said, that's how I know you're not listening. Our armies are too busy conquering. We don't got nobody. He said, oh, my fault. Any other ideas? Another senator said, I have an idea. What if we just stop being scary because they just stupid slaves? Everybody said, yeah! Bad idea. Because it turns out not only could Spartacus fight, he was a very capable military tactician. So the Roman Empire sent like 3,000 people over there. They said, man, just crush these stupid slaves. 3,000 people left. They came back. The Roman Empire said, okay, that was fast. I like that. The Roman soldiers said, nah, they smoked us. That boy could fight. So this time the Roman Empire sent 8,000 troops. The 8,000 left. They came right back. The Roman Empire said, the soldiers said, that boy could fight. Spartacus was making them boys look stupid. He was marching through the empire talking about, yeah, and I'm outside with it. Nobody finna stop me. Nobody finna stop me. The Roman senators looked behind Spartacus. 120,000 troops of former slaves, gladiators, peasants. Yeah, Rome made a lot of enemies throughout their conquering. They said, ooh, this ain't good. Now enter a man named Crassus, the richest man in Rome, watching all this going down. He said, the one thing I hate more than a brokey is a brokey with confidence. He go to the senator's spot. He said, yo, give me an army. I'll take care of it. Now here's where things start to get wicked. Spartacus and his 120 soldiers didn't really have a goal. There was a whole bunch of them, but they're like, what do we do? They had two choices. One choice was to just leave. You see that place called the Alps? Once they cross that, they can all go back to their homelands and chill. The other choice was, hey, what if we just keep fighting? We winning. What if we just go to Rome, take the capital, do all that? They thought about it. They decided to go to Rome. Bad choice. Because see, unlike the other commanders that Spartacus defeated, Crassus took Spartacus seriously. So Crassus, with his trained troops, is going against Spartacus with 120,000 troops, sure, but they're untrained, former slaves, peasants, and he cuts off Spartacus from the Alps. Look closely. There ain't nowhere to go down here. It's all water. If you were going to leave through the Alps. They can't do that no more. So Crassus starts chasing Spartacus all throughout Rome. Spartacus gets to the very end. He makes a deal with some pirates. Pirates look behind Spartacus. They say, hey, that's a Roman army. We got to go. The pirates leave. So Spartacus out here all alone. Spartacus' army said, well, maybe we could fight. They turn around and it turns out Crassus got a whole lot more troops, because as Crassus was chasing Spartacus, the main Roman army started coming back slowly and surely, and they crushed Spartacus. And well, the story goes, during the battle, Spartacus was cutting his way straight to Crassus, almost got to Crassus. Crassus probably went, oh snap, get him. And well, they got him. So Spartacus and his troops were decimated. But it's interesting because even though Spartacus was defeated, his name still lives on as a testament about fighting the system. As for Crassus, defeating Spartacus made him a strong political figure. He teams up with some dudes named Julius Caesar, Pompey. But then Julius Caesar, Pompey, turns out they're pretty dang great. So Crassus started getting a little jealous. He started hating a little bit. So he tries to take over regions by himself to be as cool as them. But he loses embarrassingly and gets Julius Caesar and Pompey. Crassus turns out was the only dude keeping them together. So they start going head to head. Julius defeats Pompey. So Pompey flees to Egypt. Cleopatra's brother Pompey, Julius Caesar goes over, starts crying. Cleopatra's brother goes, oh snap, I wasn't supposed to do that. Julius Caesar says, hell nah. Cleopatra and Julius Caesar get together because she pops up to him and says, hey, I hate my brother too. Why don't you make me in charge and I'm gonna start listening to you? So they link up, they start having kids, all that. Julius Caesar becomes supreme leader of Rome, basically. And then Julius Caesar, because he started getting too powerful and they started getting scared of him, which leads to a story I had before about Julius Caesar's disciples, Mark Antony and Octavian, getting their slide back for him. History can be a lot more connected than you think,
Wake up early, bitch, I gotta get some